Throughout this world, man saw the things of God, and he said to himself, there is no God. And wherever he looked and saw the things that he could not have created, he still said, there is no God. And wherever he saw the things that were created, he saw that everything served a purpose. The wind serves a purpose. The earth serves a purpose. The waters of the world serve a purpose. The sun serves a purpose. The moon and the stars and everything that he has never created serves a purpose. And each serves a purpose in its own unique way. And man has not contemplated these things and said, there must be someone or something that could cause all these things to create unique purposes in unique ways. But yet he says, there is no God. And I showed man that everything that is given within him, each serves its own unique purpose in its own unique way. And man still said, there is no God. Then how could these things have created themselves with their own purposes? And even when I showed man that whenever he, as he believes, created something from himself, he says this is what purpose it serves and this is the way in which it works. But he still says there is no God because he did not create himself. And man always went in the world saying to man, no God created anything. Yet he cannot explain to anyone all the things that he did not create, and even all the things that he created from himself, all worked in a specific purpose for which they were created. And when he thinks about anything, he cannot explain to anyone where from does his ideas come that cause him to think. These are things, my son, I give you to teach and to preach as my gospel of truth. Because everywhere that man went in this world, he never did as he was told to do, to know himself, to know thyself. For your knowledge of self constitutes the knowledge of God and the knowledge of creation. And whenever man wanted to know himself, he thought about his physical body because he did not understand that he is more than what he seems to be. For if you can have thoughts that cannot be seen, then there is some aspect of you that has an unseen that communicates with an unseen. And none of these things had been understood by men because all men were misguided by the things that were taught them. And so whenever any man says to you, there is no God, he does not know that he's a fool. Because he does not know how he came into being and therefore he cannot know how anything comes into being. And he does not know how his internal structure is so intricately and well designed and organized. So he himself is a fool. Because man has no way of understanding that this physical world that he sees operates on the same principle that he does, that he has an unseen, and therefore there is an unseen that also regulates that which is seen. And everywhere on earth that man has gone, he was always in the dark of these things that I have given unto you to teach and to preach. Because without the divine in man, he is always lost in a world he does not know. And he does not know this world because he does not know that everything that comes from him goes out into the world and becomes part of that world. So the world that man has today is not the world that your God created. And God keeps showing man over and over again. For men say to themselves, in my day, the world was not like this. In my time, the world was not like this. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 300 years ago, whichever way man wishes to look back at his understanding of the world, he knew the world had changed. And every way that I had spoken, I said to them, it is not only changing, it is also decaying. For everywhere on earth, man sees a changing world. And he says, oh, we have climate change and we have this type of change because we have released so much carbon. God said, no. All these things come about because of what comes out from you. You create your own world from the reality that comes from you. And everywhere that I said unto man, love and do good, love and do good, I wanted man to recognize that everything that he would give out to the world in love would return all the goodness that is of the world back to man. And man and the world would work in synchronicity with each other. Every hurricane and disasters that you see in the world, it comes from the way in which all things that came from man that went into the world became part of man's world. No man understood these things because no man was given the divine within himself to be able to know the things that I have given unto you to teach and to preach. For I promise the world that in the end the truth will be known. I send you as my way and my truth. Preach and teach these things. For except man waited to be given to know the way that God is, he cannot know the way that he is, nor can he know the way the world is. I have said to you that I am the way that you are, and you are the way that I am. For I am the mother in you, and I am the father in you. And in every way that I am the I am that I am all that you are, and you are all that I am. For I am mother and father in you. And this was the way that God created everyone. That in all the ways that man would have walked in the faith of God and followed the sacred precepts of God, he would come to know the way in which he is in the image and likeness of the Mother God and the Father God. In other words, he would have come to recognize the fact that he is a living creation of a seen and unseen God. To be God is to have the knowledge of all things and to be able to establish the basis on which all things exist. And from all these ways comes every possibility that is possible. I always say to you, my son, teach these things, preach these things, because man could not have known any of these things. And when men went saying, the Son of God came and the Son of God died on the cross, God asked them which dead man was ever able to deliver the world and to deliver you. And everywhere God said, my children went saying the same things too. And God said, how come that this dead son has not been able to deliver you from all the atrocities that have been committed against you and are still being committed against you? How is it that I show you these things and you don't understand what I show you? If you are all gods, how is it that you're looking for other gods? Why are you worshipping other gods? Why are you believing in other gods? The time has come, my son, when I send you to teach and preach my gospel of truth. For the world was deceived by all the things that man had done in the books that man had written, in the teachings that man had given unto them. And except man learns that God does not work in the same way that man works, and the thinking from God is not the thinking from man, man would never be able to find the path to light. And except you find the path to light, you cannot find the truth. And that is why the truth was never known to the world, because the world was always in darkness. When your God says to man, the world is in darkness, God is saying you are in complete ignorance of everything that was shown to you that you have not seen. Nothing that man has done, in every way that man has gone, has ever provided man with the basis for understanding who God is, how God exists, and how everything came into being. And no man could have told any man any of these things, because no man was given the divine to be able to interpret the sacred knowledge of God that would have instructed him from the wisdom that comes from God. You speak and teach the things that I give to you, that you give to the world. For every way that you are, so were my children. And that is why I've said unto you that wherever you go to teach and to preach, these wisdoms of your God will be known to the world and to my children. And my children will come to the realization that they too were deceived by the things that had been given to them. For there is no church, nor is there any religious doctrine that is able to give to the children the truth that is of God, from God, that is also God. I did not give any man to form any church. I did not give any man to become a preacher unto me. I did not give any man any doctrines about me. For all these are the false teachings of men. And in every way that I spoke, I said unto all the world, do not place your trust in men. And all men went in the world saying, I know God, I represent God, I'm a servant of God. God told me this, and God told me that. And no one ever asked them, which God told you what? And all men went believing that whatever anyone had said to them, it is what God, who created all things, had said to them. And everyone forgot what I told them. There is only one way to God, to knowing God, to loving God, and serving God. And that is through the Son that I will send to you. And my Son will teach you the ways that you cannot know, you did not know, and you will not know. And all over the world I saw men went looking for gods and saviors that had nothing to do with your Creator, Mother, and Father God. And when my children lost the divine within themselves, they lost the knowledge of God and the knowledge of the world and the knowledge of themselves. And so my children walk divided in this world because they do not know that they are the chosen. They do not know that in all the ways that they walked on earth, in the precepts of God, they were also gods. And so every way that I have sent you to walk the world, to be like man, to do the things like man, it is the way I show my own children. You were the way my Son is. And in every way that they would come to know who I have sent, they would come to know who they are. And this knowledge of self would empower the children of God to recognize that they were truly the chosen Israelites of God. They were God's lights on earth. And it is in this knowledge that the children will come to the true understanding of themselves. But they will also come to reflect on the way the world is and how the world was. And every way that divine knowledge would instruct them in the way in which wisdom returns to them, the children would learn that it is because of them that earth became a dwelling place for every tribe and species on earth. For the magnitude of my children's mission was never known to them. And when I hear many of my children saying there is no God, I'm saying you're denying your own existence as gods. And that is one of the reasons why the many tribes of earth do not believe in the greatness of the children. For if you do not believe in your own greatness, who else would you expect to believe in it? And so you must tell my children, for every way you went saying there is no God, you're saying, I am not a God. I am not great. I did not contribute to the development of the civilization of earth. They must think before they speak, and they must reflect on their own existence, because many of them had said, we endured hardships and all manner of things, and we still managed to make it. And God said, how did you manage to do it? If there wasn't something in you that was great within you that enabled you to overcome the trials and the tribulations in which the tribes of earth had placed you. Preach and teach these truths, for the time has come for the world to wake up, for my own children to wake up, and for them to come to the true knowledge of who they really are, who God is, and why the world is the way that it is. It is in this new consciousness of self that my own children will come to the realization that there is a God within them. And in every way they were told to know thyself and to seek. You will teach them the way to find the God that is of them, within them, that is them. And these are the wisdoms of the Mother God and the Father God that are given to you to give to the children and to the world, that in preaching and teaching the things that I have given unto you to preach and teach, so will man awaken to the true consciousness that he wasted the borrowed life, loaned to him in pursuit of everything that reduces him to nothing. For that is the way all men came and ended, pursuing things that eventually made them nothing.